Good morning, all. Today, I am discussing about learning organization. So, in the organizational behavior, another important thing is we are learning about the organization. Okay, so for what purpose we are learning the organization? So, there is some basic need for this learning organization. So, to remain vibrant in the fast changing business environment, it is essential to build up within learning organization. Okay. Suppose to remain vibrant in the fast changing business environment. Nowadays, the business environment is fastly changed. Okay. So day to day, there are new innovations are there, and also there is a competition, huge competition in the market. So then it is essential to build up within learning organization. Okay. So it is essential to build up within learning organization. So for this purpose, first you have to know about the organization. For that purpose, you have to learn about the organization. So learning organization helps to become human resource development truly effective. Okay, so learning organization, it helps to become human resources development truly effective. Then we are developing human resources, uh, human resources in effective manner with the use of learning organization. So through learning organization creation, acquisition and transfer of knowledge take place to seek relatively permanent change in behavior. Okay, through learning organization creation, acquisition and transfer of knowledge. Okay, we have to transfer, we have to acquire the knowledge, create the knowledge, and a transfer of knowledge take place to seek relatively permanent change in behavior. Okay, so after that we have to with the use of these things, then for creation and acquisition and transfer of knowledge, then automatically we need to take a permanent change in the behavior. So then human behavior is responsive to learning experiences. So human behavior is responsive because he is respond. Suppose is there any action, then there is a equal response. Okay. So we are responding. Okay. So then human behavior is responsive to learning experiences. Okay. So the learning experiences. From experiences, the human behavior is responsive. Okay. So then according to Constello and Jelkind, all the individuals' activities in the organization, his loyalties, awareness of organization goals, job performance, even his safety record have been learned in the largest sense of that term. Okay, so human behavior is then according to Constello and Jelkind, all the individuals' activities in the organization. Okay, so suppose all the individuals activities in the organization based on his loyalty, awareness of organizational goals, job performance, even his safety record have been learned in the largest sense of that term. So in the according to the in the perspective of the organization, so then every human must be loyal, and also he has some awareness about organizational goals, and also what job performance. He is in good in performance, and also even his safety record. So he follows safety measurements or not. Okay. Suppose you are not following the safety measures, that is not only risk for you. So the remaining people are also suffer with your action. Okay, so affected with your actions. Okay, suppose uh, is there any power problem? Suppose you are avoiding the power safety rules. Okay, then automatically it leads to total it creates a problem for total organization. Suppose if you are went to a petrol bunk, then you are not suppose you are not lighten up any suppose you are not using match boxes, or you don't use cigars, and also you don't use mobile phones, because it is not only related to you, so remaining all are also affected your action. Okay, suppose if you are maintaining the safety, then ultimately another people are also uh, in a safe. Okay, that's why the safety record of the employee. So then he is have been learned in the largest sense of the term. Okay, then new ideas are acquired through learning. Okay, so new ideas are acquired through learning. So through learning only we are acquiring the new ideas, and learning is involved in every activity. Okay, so learning is involved in every activity. Okay, so from every activity you have to learn something. Okay, so suppose if you are doing anything, then you have to learn from that. You have to learn something from that. Okay, so learning is a continuous process of knowledge acquisition from all available sources. Okay, so and then learning is a continuous process of knowledge acquisition from all available sources. It is a continuous process. So from all available sources you have to learn new things uh, in day to day. Okay, so then according to Fred Lothans, the following points need consideration. So in the learning organization, Fred Lothans said some points. So then first point is learning involves change, not necessarily improvement in behavior. Learning may be good or bad. Sorry, this is bad. So wrongly typed. So good or bad. That is prejudice and bad habits, etc. So learning involves change. Okay, learning means change. That means you have to encourage the change. That means you have to change yourself through learning. So not necessarily improvement in behavior. Behavioral learning may be good or bad. Okay. Suppose you are going to learn, suppose anything, then it is not necessary involvement in the behavioral learning. So it is not changing your behavior, but you have to change. Suppose that your knowledge is changed. Okay. So then maybe good or bad, whether it is a good or bad, then you have to learn something. Okay, so for example, prejudice and bad habits, these are all the things. Prejudice means, so what is about justice, so what is the values and what is the virtues, all these things. And bad habits, there is a bad habits, both are there. So both are from learning. Okay, whether it is a good change or a bad change. Okay, so suppose you have some bad habits, then you are also learn from others or learn from the society. Okay, so that is also in the process of learning. Okay, so whether it is a bad or good, that is a different one. First you have to learn something, then you have to change your attitude, whether it is a bad or whether it is a good. Okay, then after that, that means there is a some change in behavior. That is important thing. From learning, there is a change in your behavior, whether it is a bad change or a good change. Okay, then change must be relatively permanent. Sometimes change must be relatively permanent, and a temporary change may be reflexive and may not represent learning. Okay, temporary change may be reflexive, but you have to consider the temporary change. It may be reflexive and may not present learning. Okay, then experience in some form or other is essential for learning to occur. Okay, so experience in some form or other is essential for learning to occur. Okay, so then reinforcement of learning practice is a must for occurrence of learning. So both are related to one with another. So experience in some form or other is essential for learning. So experience is very important for every. Suppose if I learn something, then that is nothing but from experiences. Okay, so what you have to face or experience while doing that work, that is learning. Okay, through experience only you have to learn something. Then after that, reinforcement of learning practice is a must for occurrence of learning. Okay, so reinforcement of learning. Okay, that means you have to reinforce the learning process. That must be, that is also, uh, it must be for occurrence of learning. Okay, so this is also used for learning. Then features of learning organization. What are the features of learning organization? So first one is learning is a continuous process. All of you know this. Then acquisition of knowledge from various sources continuous. Then you have to acquire the knowledge from the different sources. It is also continuous. Then knowledge can be acquired by employees as individuals, as groups, and the organization as a whole. Okay, so knowledge can be acquired by employees as individuals, as groups, and the organization as a whole. So you have to acquire the knowledge from the employees and also individuals and also as a groups and the organization as a whole. Okay, then next one is it stimulates people to learn to do their jobs excellently to obtain the sense of achievement. Okay, so after that, second point is it stimulates people to learn, okay, to do their jobs excellently. to obtain the sense of achievement. So for suppose if you are doing a job in excellent manner, then there is a stimulation. Okay, stimulate means stimulates to people learn. That means there is a desire to learn. You have to learn from something about the nature and also about the society and about the technology. So these are all nothing but it is a stimulation process. Okay, so there is a if there is a stimulation process in the learning, then only have to do their job. You do your job in an excellent manner and also to obtain the sense of achievement. Okay, then after that you have to achieve something in your job. Then after that, third one is it encourages the employees to attain peak of proficiency through knowledge. Okay, so it encourages the employees to attain peak of proficiency through knowledge. Okay, so then after that, employees to attain peak of proficiency through knowledge. Okay, then it is also encourages the employees to attain and also getting knowledge and also developing proficiency. Okay, so then you have to improve your knowledge, then automatically your proficiency will be developed. Okay, for that purpose also there is a need of learning organization. And after that, it facilitates development of fresh organizational efficiencies at all times. And after that, it develops of fresh organizational efficiencies at all times. So there is a freshness in the efficiencies at all times that will be maintained through learning organization. And after that, it provides climate conducive to learning skills. So, and a learning organization provides a conducive environment, that means a positive environment to learn the new skills, and it helps to increase the ability to conceptualize, nurtures innovative patterns of learning, and obtains feedback on progress. Okay, so and after that, it helps to increase ability. Okay, so suppose if you want to improve your ability, then there is a need of a learning organization. This is also useful. And conceptualize and nurtures innovative patterns of learning and obtains feedback on progress. Okay, nurtures innovative patterns of learning, and also you have to develop different type of patterns for learning and obtains feedback on progress. And after that, you have to take feedback from the people. Okay, then after that, it develops competitive advantage to learning. So then we are developing a competitive, we are getting a competitive advantage from learning. Okay, suppose when there is a competition, then you have to getting a benefit from the competition. Then ultimately, it is also possible with learning. Okay, so that means how you are facing the competition and how we are getting the advantage from the competition, that is also done by you have to learn. Suppose if you are learning something about that thing, about the competition, then only have to develop this competitive advantage. And after that, it has a broad vision. Okay, so the learning has a broad vision. Okay, so learning is, suppose learning is unlimited. Okay, there is no limitation for learning. Suppose if you are learn anything, suppose you are not completely learn about that. Okay, so why? Because so learning, suppose if you are learning about some, suppose if you are taking one subject, we are not completely learn about that subject. We are not masters in that subject. After getting your master's degree or your bachelor's degree, you are not master in that subject particular area. Only some people are having some knowledge because they are also knowing something about that. Okay, so because knowledge is uh, for knowledge, it is a big branch. Suppose the tree having some big branches like that. Okay, so the root is come there. So root is one, but the branches are enormously increased. Okay, so then new branches are created, and then ultimately the tree spreads the wide area. Okay, so then like that, knowledge is also like that. So then you have to learn something, then ultimately someone is introducing some new things in that particular area, then you are not knowing about that, then you are not completely knowing about that subject. That's why it has some broad vision, and it makes use of TQM to guide decisions in learning. So then TQM means total quality management. So total quality management is also guide decisions in learning. Okay. So this is about features of learning organization. So and after that, principles of learning organization or principles of learning, both are same. So principles of learning. So we are only discussing about learning is related to the organization. We are not considering the general sense. Okay, so please keep in this point in our mind. So we are not discussed about normal learning process. We are uh, we are discussing the learning is related to the organization. Okay, so that means in the view of organizational behavior. Okay, so please remind this point. Okay, so then principles of learning. So learning needs a purposeful activity. Suppose you are learn about something, there is some purpose to learn that subject or that suppose that process or something you have to take. So learning needs a purposeful activity. Then after that, knowledge of results facilitates learning. So and after that, second one is knowledge of results facilitates learning. Okay, so then knowledge of results facilitates learning means then you have to uh, uh, suppose you are suppose if you are learning something, then your knowledge will be increased. Okay, then reinforcement principles helps in learning effectively to achieve improvement in performance. Then after that, reinforcement principle. So after this topic you have to learn reinforcement, then no need to worry about this, then you are completely understanding about the reinforcement. So reinforcement principle helps in learning effectively to achieve improvement in performance. Suppose we are trying to improving our performance, then there is a need of reinforcement in the learning. Okay, then problem can be solved through learning. Challenges stimulate learning. Okay, suppose you have to solve any problem, then first you have to learn about that. So how to resolve that problem? Basically you have to learn something about that problem, then only you are able to solve that problem. And challenges stimulate learning. And after that, challenges are suppose there is a challenges, then it stimulates the learning process. Suppose if you are facing any challenge, then you want to learn something about that, then you have to learn about that. Okay, so there is a stimulation process. Then competition stimulates learning. Suppose if there is a competition, then you are ready to learn something. Okay, suppose if there is no competition, you are not interested to learn something about that. Suppose if there is a competition, you are also learn about that, then it stimulates, that means it encourages to learn. Okay, competition encourages to learn something about that particular thing. Then logical and orderly teaching must for learning. Then after that, logical and orderly teaching must for learning. Suppose if you learn something, then there is a logic and also there is a order. Okay, order of teaching must for learning. Suppose if suppose in classroom we are maintaining both the things, then we are discussing about logical things, and also we have to maintain some order. So one by one. Okay, suppose if I learn something about that, then first we have to know the basics. Then we are trying to teach basics, and also we are suppose we put more time on we more concentrate on basics. Then after that yeah, we have to going to the complicated topics. Okay, then there is a order. Okay, then effective learning needs continuous evaluation. Okay, suppose if our learning process is effective, then there is a there is a need of continuous evaluation. There is a need of continuous evaluation. That means you have to evaluate continuously. Okay, so then after that, transfer of application of knowledge stimulates learning. Okay, so then after that, transfer of application of knowledge stimulates learning. Suppose if I have to uh, transfer of application of knowledge, that means you have to uh, transfer the knowledge, then it is also stimulates the learning. Suppose I have the knowledge and I have to ready to transfer my knowledge to you, then that is also stimulates to learning. Then appreciation and credit provide strong base for learning. Okay, then after that, appreciation and credit provide strong base for learning. Suppose if you are suppose if you want to some appreciation, and also you have some credit, that means credit means it not a liability. So credit means some credibility. Okay, so these are all providing strong base for learning. Okay, so if you have strong desire, suppose if you want to get something credit, some credibility, and also you need some appreciation, then you have to learn something, then also then after that you have to appreciate it by others. Okay, so without learning you can't do anything. Okay, from suppose at the time, from the time of born, so suppose you are after entering into the world from mother womb, then from that part day, from that point, from that minute, you have to learn. Okay, so we are all learning continuously. Okay, so then first you have to learn how to drink the milk, and after that how to talk. So after that how to walk, and after that how to eat. Okay, so then first drinking, after that you have to learn about eating, after that you have to learn about walking, and after that you have to learn about talking. So how to talk. So and after that you have to learn so many things. Okay, so then it is a continuous process. Okay, so from born itself we are learning new things. Okay, so then learning is a process of knowledge, can be acquired gradually, and the rate of learning can be plotted graphically. Okay, so learning is a process. So knowledge can be acquired gradually. Suppose if you are learning about something, then you are slowly acquiring the knowledge about that particular thing, and the rate of learning can be plotted graphically. Okay, so then suppose if you have to learn something, then what is the rate of learning? Suppose all of you are learning, but we are not getting suppose we are not getting the knowledge. Okay, so those who are complete involvement in the learning process, then only they are acquiring the knowledge. Okay, suppose if there is suppose in the classroom there is suppose 60 people are there. Suppose the teacher is delivers the lecture. Okay, then only uh, some of the people are some part of the people are only involved in the involved in that class. Then they are only getting the knowledge about that particular, they are gaining the knowledge about that particular class. Okay, so then you are not paying your attention. Okay, that's not a mistake of lecturer or somebody. Not only lecturer or somebody. Suppose they are all ready to, he gives ready to train. Okay, so they, but you are not utilizing that one. Okay, that's why learning is a process, so knowledge can be acquired gradually, and the rate of learning can be plotted graphically. That's why the rate of learning can be plotted graphically. So learning curve reveals the pace of process of learning. So the learning curve is indicated the pace of process of learning. So where the learning process will be. Okay, whether it is a good position or in a not in a good position. Okay, so then you have to know about these things. Then after that, principles of learning. Then next point is in learning of manual skills, distributed practice is more effective than mastered practice. Okay, so then in learning of mutual manual skills, so suppose everybody needs some manual skills, then distributed practice is more effective than mastered practice. Suppose if I learn something about that, then you have to distribute the practice process. That means then you have to practice one by one. So then you are not complete. Suppose if you are not distributed, then ultimately there is a confusion in the learning process. That's why you have to distribute, and first way at what point you have to start, and at what point you have to end. That means it is nothing but it is a distributed practice is more effective than massed practice. That means you are massively practice all the things, then there is no use, and you are not getting the skills. Okay, so then you have to practice in a distributed manner. Then you are getting the knowledge, and also one by one you have to learn. Then you are completely mastered in that work. Okay, then after you will be become in that particular work, you will be the master. Okay, then second next point, usually people forgot after learning. So this is common thing. Suppose you are learn something, then after that you are easily forgot. Somebody is easily forgot. Somebody is only keep in their mind. So what they are learned. So that's why usually people forgot after learning. So suppose you are not practicing what you have to learn continuously, then after some time we are forgotten about you forgot about what, suppose you are forgot what you are learning. So that's why you have to regularly practice what you have to learn. Then only that will be kept in your mind. Okay, suppose at the children's stage, so the children are learning A B C D and 1 2 3 4 5 like this. So at the stage they are not, the brain is not ready to keep all the things in their mind. So they are easily forgotten. Okay, so that's why you are properly trained them, then they are also learning the new things. Okay, so you are regularly uh, mm, practicing them, give practice, then they are only don't forget about what they are learned. Okay, so that's why forgotten forget forget about the anything. Suppose you are forgot about anything, not only learning, suppose education or something. So in your regular life we are forgotten so many things. Okay, so that's why usually people forget after learning. To offset the effect of forgetting, the principle of overlearning, to consolidate learning is used. Okay, that's why you have to slowly learn about the things. Then after that, principle of overlearning. Suppose you are learning, suppose you are overlearning, then to consolidate learning is used. Then after then we are using the consolidated learning. So then they are using the consolidated learning. Okay, so that means over learning. There is no need of overloading, over learning. For all, suppose alternatively you are going the process about consolidated learning. Suppose what you are need and what you are required at this stage. First you have to learn about that. Okay, so the remaining things are slowly learn. First, you have to learn about the major important things. Suppose if you have exam today, then you are completely read the textbook. So it is possible. So at that time, no. Okay, so there is alternative. Suppose you are maintaining running notes, then you have to see the learning notes. Then you are getting the points very easily. Okay, so this is consolidated learning. Okay, then next one, practice makes perfect is another important principle of learning. Suppose suppose somebody is perfect in that particular work, perfect, then you have to practice that work in regular. Okay, suppose we take some uh, workers, so then they are regularly doing that work, then ultimately they are in the perfect in that work. Okay, so practice makes man perfect. Suppose if you are knowing, suppose you are learn something, then there is a need of practice. Okay, without practice, you are unable to repeat that one, and also you are not able to do the same thing again and again. Okay, that's why practice makes perfect. So, is another important principle of learning. Okay, that is very important principle of learning. Then after that, re rehearsing rehearsing is effective means of ensuring retention in learning process. Okay, so rehearsing is effective means of ensuring retention in learning process. So rehearsing. So rehearsing means, so regularly rehearsal. That means you have to remind in your mind. So then suppose if you have a leisure time, then you sit on some area, some place in suppose at a pleasant place, then you have to remind and also rewind what you have to learn. Okay, so it is very important for a learning process. Okay, so learning brings about modification behavior. Suppose if you want to change your behavior, first you have to learn about you and also learn about your surroundings and your family and all the things you have to learn. Then learning is effective when learner process the knowledge of the standards required. Okay, so learning is effective when learner possess the knowledge of the standards required. Suppose the knowledge there is a suppose the learning is effective. When the learning is effective, learner possess the knowledge of the standards required. Suppose the learner wants to learn the standard knowledge, uh, he required some standard knowledge, then only the learning process will be effective, because the learner has some interest to gain the standard knowledge. Okay, then only the learning is effective. Okay, so then learning is affected by the feelings of teacher and student. So learning is also affected by the feelings of the both the feelings of the teacher and student. Okay, so because both are the very important, playing a very important role in the learning process. Then learner acquires many things through learning attitudes, price, etc. So learner is important. So learner acquires many things. Okay, so he acquires many things through learning attitudes, price, etc. Okay, through learning attitudes. Then next one is difficult and complex task leads to greater chance of remembering. Suppose if you are doing any complex task or bigger task, then that will be in your mind, permanently stored in your mind, because you are facing some difficulty to complete the task. Then you are remember the task, uh, uh, remember the task for a long time. Okay, so that is important one, another important point. And next one is learning is facilitated by external incentives and internal satisfaction. Okay, so learning is facilitated by external incentives. So learning is provides always some external interviews and internal satisfaction. So there is a internal satisfaction. Okay, so these are the principles of learning organization. Okay, so learning organization means you have to learn about the organization. That means what is happening in the organization, and what is the environment in the organization, and what is the behavior. Suppose we are considering the each and every so each and every objectives. That means what is the psychological state of the each and every person. So then uh, for that purpose, you have to learn about the organization. Okay, first you have to learn about the organization, then you are knowing about the organization, then after that you have to make the necessary changes where there is a required in the organization. Okay, so it is also a continuous process. So it is useful for both the individual and also organization, and both are benefited with the learning organization, learning about the organization. Okay, so because the title of the subject is organizational behavior. Okay, so how you know about the organization? So how you know about the organization completely? Then there is a need of learning organization. Okay, so without learning, or suppose if you are not done this, then you are unable to learn about your organization. Then you are not handle the cases in a proper. Suppose the problems related uh, for the organization were not able to overcome this. Okay, so this is very very important in the organizational behavior. Okay, so this is about learning organization. Okay, so tomorrow I am discussing about reinforcement theory of learning motivation. Okay, so reinforcement theory of motivation. Okay, so today I stopped over here.